Hey, what's going on, guys? Buffalo Gamer 77 here, and today's video I just want to talk about a console that I always wanted as a kid, but no one I knew had this console. In my area, I don't think anyone had it that I know of, at least, and that is the Turbografx 16, also known as the PC Engine in Japan. Core Graphics, also known as. So there's the top of it, and here is the back of it. If you notice here in the front, there's only one controller port, so it's kind of hard to play two-player games with one controller port. So the way it works is that you put a hue card, that's what it's called, and right inside here, there's a locking mechanism where it locks so you can't take the game out while it's in there, and then you can eject it when you turn it off. So you turn it on, a little lever here, I don't know if you can see it or not, but it locks it in place. The game stays put. And you play your game. When you want to turn it off, you take the game out, turn it off, and you pull the cartridge hue card out. What's different about this console compared to a lot of other ones is that the power supply is attached right here to it. I'm not too sure if you can see it or not. Yeah, I'm not sure if you can take it out. I don't know. Maybe if you take its back part off here, maybe you can take it off. I don't know. I never really tried to mess with it and take it off, so I don't know. But it's attached to it directly, which I find kind of weird. And it uses RF, radio frequency, to run your TV, which is not the best quality for the game systems back then, but back then, 1989, that's what they had, right? Let's see. So yeah, the Turbografx came out in 1989, but back in Japan, the PC Engine came out in 1987, October 30th. And for us in North America, August 29th, 1989 is when it released here. And didn't sell too well due to poor marketing. Unfortunately, the marketing here was horrible. Not many people even heard about the Turbografx 16, and maybe some of you watching probably never heard of it either. I definitely check out some gameplay of the games for it. They have a lot of good games. They're pretty pricey, so if you want to collect for it, I don't know if I would get into it right now, or unless you see a lot out there for a good price. Maybe with the console and like 10 games for a good price. But if you're trying to find games for it, the lowest price game is probably the sports games, and most of the time sports games are the cheapest, and they're about $14.99 each, so it's pretty high. The good games are about $50 to $100. I do have a few games here that are pretty good that I purchased. My collection's not that big. The games are hard to find, and they're pretty pricey, so going to your local game store, you're probably not going to find a lot of games for it, unless your area was populated with a lot of people that played the system. So it sold 10 million copies worldwide. Consoles worldwide, which is a lot, but only 800,000 in North America. Again, that was due to poor marketing. Let's see. There were 138 games available on hue cards. 138 games total. 94 on hue cards. 21 were on the Turbo CD, and 23 are on Turbo Super CD. Now, the CD attachment was an add-on. It was the first CD attachment for a console. It beat the Sega CD by a few months, and then Sega CD came out with theirs. But yeah, the Turbografx CD was the first CD-based console, that add-on for the system. It attached to the back of it, and it was pretty cool. Then they came out with the Turbo Duo. The Turbo Duo came out in 1992, and that retailed for $299, which in nowadays money, they'll be around $550. So it was a lot money back then. And the Turbo Duo, as you can imagine, did not sell too well either. The price still held up now. If you want a Turbo Duo, you're definitely going to spend between $350 and $400 for it on eBay, or maybe a local game store might have it. But it is pretty pricey for the Turbo Duo. I would definitely probably buy the Turbo Duo instead of buying a Turbografx if you want the whole experience for the CD. But me personally, the CD attachment games, they're pretty pricey for those as well, and I doubt I would want to get involved in buying those. They're just too pricey, too much money. It's sort of like with the Neo Geo, just the cost of the games for it are just crazy. Like the Rondo Blood for Castlevania game, I think it goes for like $150, $200 for it. It's just, it's just out of my price range. Now, if you have money to spend, and I definitely pick it up if you're a collector. But you can also emulate the games and play them that way. They also came out with a Turbo Express, which was I don't have one, but it's like a sort of like the Game Gear, but it's vertical, and it's about this big, and also had a TV tuner add-on for it. And the game, the Turbografx plays cue cards, full-size cue cards. Sort of like the Sega Nomad plays full-size Sega games. The Turbografx plays full-size cue card games. And that's pretty cool, but the problem is the battery life on it is horrible. And you got to play with it sort of like plugged in the wall. And a lot of times the capacitors in those Turbografxes go on them. And it's good to buy one that's recapped. And they're pretty pricey nowadays too. They're about $250, $300, maybe even a little more. And when it first came out, it was $249. Let's see. Trying to think what else is there. The Turbografx had a 2.6-inch backlit screen, which back then the Game Boy did not have a backlit screen. The Sega Game Gear did have a backlit screen, which is pretty cool. But the Turbografx had a pretty good screen on it. Let's see. Their Mario for Turbografx was Bonk. Bonk had 3 games on the Turbografx 16. And let's see. I have a few games here I want to talk about. Actually, let's talk about the controller next. So when I purchased the console, I bought it at Too Many Games as a game convention in Oaks, Pennsylvania, just outside Philadelphia. It happens usually towards the end of June every year. And finally, I pulled the trigger when I saw it there. I was contemplating it. I had it in my hand. And after about an hour of thinking about it, I bought it. And of course, it comes with a controller. Here's the controller it came with. And since then, I bought a second controller and another controller. But yeah, I think it feels good in your hands. It's pretty square. It's not very, I can't say the word ergonomical. Way off. But the D-pad feels kind of stiff a little bit. But when you play games with it, it works pretty good. These buttons over here, they go up and down. It makes games go faster. Like when I play a game called Blazing Lasers, it makes your ship move a little faster. It's pretty cool. I like it a lot. Let's see. Now let's talk about the games. So I have a few games here. This one here is called Blazing Lasers, which is one of my favorite shooter games for the system. This game came out in 1989. Let's see here. I'll take it out. I'll show you the hue card. So here is the hue card for it. On the back of the hue card, it says some notes. It says, "Don't bend, drop, or subject to shock. Keep away from static electricity, heat, water, and direct sunlight. Please put back into the case after you play." And it has the patents on here, made in Japan. Here's the back of the hue card. Blazing Lasers is about, I would say, about a $50 game if you want to complete. You probably find it loose maybe for $35, $40 if you get lucky on it. Let's see. When the Turbografx 16 came out, it did not come out with a game included with it, but to compete with other consoles out there, like Nintendo had Super Mario Brothers packed into it, and the SNES had Super Mario Land, I'm pretty sure. And so they added a game called Keith Courage and Alpha Lands. It's a platformer game. Let's see if I can open it up here and show you the game, the hue card for it. So here's a hue card for it. The game's actually not bad. It's not the best game, but it's not bad. I've not finished it, but I got pretty good into it, pretty far into it. There's a game called Ninja Spirit. This game came out in 1988. It's a platformer game, sort of like Shinobi, Ninja Gaiden. This game is about $45, $50 complete. Well, complete actually means with the cardboard box. So if you want the hue card, the case, and the manual, it's about $50. I'm not sure if it goes for with cardboard on it, but the games were in like a cardboard box with it. Now, the next 3 games I picked up from my local game store. They had a sale on sports games, and the sale was any sports game that was $14.99 and under was $1. So I picked up this Victory Run racing game, which is actually a pretty good game. Not the best racing game, but it's pretty cool. For $1, definitely can't complain. Case is pretty damaged, but doesn't matter. You can pick a different jewel case cover for it. Doesn't really matter at all. Next one is Sports TV Football. Never played any of these games before, so I'm not too sure how the sports games are. And the last sports game I got here is Jack Nicklaus Turbo Golf. And they were $1. So I figured I'd pick them all up. So all I have is 6 games in my collection. But when I bought these Turbografx 16 and too many games, Stone Age Gamer was there, which sells different things on their website, and I picked up the Turbo Everdrive. Now the Everdrive allows you to play the original hardware with emulation, and it does that I'll show you how it does it. So this one came with the little this case here. It came with the SD card, and the Everdrive itself is right here. So the Everdrive has a micro SD card, which is right here at the top, and I'll show you it. It's right here. So you download the games, put them on this little SD card, and put it into your console, and you can play Turbografx games right on your Everdrive. There's a game called Magical Chase that goes for about $6,000 to $10,000. Prices out there are pretty high. It's a pretty good game. I like it a lot, but not for that price of $6,000. There's no way I would buy it. And so the Everdrive gives me a chance to actually play it. Also, a game called Air Zonk, which is pretty cool, and I can't play without the Everdrive. So if you're interested in getting a Turbografx 16, I would say the Everdrive is going to be your best friend, because the prices for the games are just so high, and this will give you a chance to actually play the games that you want to play. I think the price for the Everdrive, I want to say, was probably about $115, $120. You could buy it just the Everdrive itself for cheaper, but I spent the extra $20, and I got the case and SD card, and it came with a little Turbo Everdrive sleeve for it, and the manual. Never actually looked at the manual, so I'm not too sure what it says in it, but I'll show it to you in a second. Here's the manual for it. Came with a few stickers. Turbo Everdrive. And Stone Age Gamer. They have Everdrives for a lot of, for the NES, SNES, N64, Sega Genesis. These are around the same price. They're about $100 each, $99, $100. And let's see, if you want to check them out. You can go to stoneagegamer.com. Let's see. I also have a few accessories I want to show you. This right here is called the Turbo Stick. And the Turbo Stick is what I use to play Blazing Lasers. It's an arcade stick. And, when I play Blazing Lasers, I had a lot of fun with it. And using the fight stick here, or the Turbo Stick, makes it even better. It has a turbo on here as well. Here's buttons here for turbo. Put it in and out. In the actual controller itself, there's I think there's 2 or 3 different settings for it. And here you plug, you press it in, press it out. You can also slow it down if you want. There's a slow button there, if you can see it. And this Turbo Stick, I picked it up a couple years ago as well from a local game store, and it was about $20. Not too sure where they go for nowadays. I have not looked into it, so I'm not too sure, but I would say the price has probably increased since then. Now, since the console only has 1 controller port, if you want to play a 2-player game, you're going to need the, it's called the Turbo, I forgot what it's called, Turbo Tap. Sorry, I forgot what it's called for a second. And this right here allows you to play 5 controllers. 5 controllers here. I was thinking 4, but actually it has 5. That's kind of weird. It has, odd number like that, 5. But hey, if you have 5 controllers and a game that plays 5 players, hey, why not, right? And this is also about $20 I paid for it. So between the extra controllers, I have another controller somewhere over there, and I paid extra about $20, $40, $60 for the accessories. Not bad. Pretty good deals. I'm trying to think what else is there. That's all I have the information right now for the Turbografx 16. If you're interested in hearing more information about it, let me know. I can do some more research for you and look it up and do another video. Maybe do like a part 2. Alright guys, well, thanks for watching this video on the Turbografx 16. I appreciate your support. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing to it. I do videos on streams, unboxings, news, pickups, things like that. Alright guys, you guys have a good night.